At my parents' 30th anniversary celebration, I stood there smiling, laughing at their jokes, and even cutting the cake with them. Everyone thought I was happy to be there. No one knew that just a few hours earlier, I had filed a restraining order against my own family. Is there anyone in your life that you wish you could get revenge on? Tell me in the comments who that person is and what they did. I'd really like to know your story. And please don't forget to like and subscribe so I can continue bringing you these stories. Your support helps me keep creating and sharing new content for you. My name is Ava Thompson, and this is the story of how I acted happy at my parents' anniversary while secretly filing a restraining order against them. I was 29 years old when I finally decided I had enough. For years, my family had crossed every boundary I had. My mother, Diane, was extremely controlling. She would show up at my apartment unannounced, go through my things, and criticize every decision I made. My father, Robert, never stopped her. Instead, he would tell me to adjust and not create drama. My younger brother, Lucas, was the golden child. He could do no wrong in their eyes. Whenever I tried to set boundaries, my mother would say, "You're being too sensitive," or "Family comes first." Over time, their behavior became worse. They started interfering in my career, my relationships, and even my finances. The final straw came 6 months before my parents' anniversary. I had started seeing someone seriously. His name was Ethan. For the first time in years, I felt genuinely happy. When my mother found out about him, she began calling me non-stop. She would say things like, "He's not good for you. You're making a mistake, and you should focus on your family instead of running after boys." One day, she crossed the line she had never crossed before. She showed up at Ethan's apartment with my father. They created a scene outside his building, shouting that I was being brainwashed and that Ethan was using me. Ethan was shocked and embarrassed. That same night, he told me he couldn't continue the relationship because my family was too much to handle. That was the moment something inside me broke. I realized that as long as I kept allowing them access to my life, they would continue destroying every good thing I tried to build. So I made a decision. I consulted a lawyer and filed a restraining order against my parents and my brother. It wasn't an easy decision, but I knew I needed to protect my peace. However, I didn't tell them about the restraining order immediately. My parents' 30th anniversary was coming up in 2 weeks, and I didn't want to create drama before the event. So I did something that even surprised me. I acted completely normal. I helped with the anniversary preparations, I smiled, laughed, and even gave a small speech during the celebration. My mother looked genuinely happy that I was being cooperative again. My father even hugged me and said, "I'm glad you've finally come to your senses." They had no idea what I had already done. 2 days after the anniversary, they would find out. And when they did, their reaction was something I will never forget. 2 days after my parents' anniversary, everything changed. I was sitting in my apartment, going through some work emails, when my phone started ringing nonstop. It was my mother. I ignored the first few calls, but she kept calling back. On the 5th ring, I finally picked up. "Ava," she shouted the moment I answered. "What the hell is this? We just received some legal papers at the house. It says we're not allowed to contact you or come near you. Is this some kind of joke?" I stayed calm. "It's not a joke, Mom," I replied. "I filed a restraining order against you, Dad, and Lucas." There was a long silence on the other end. Then my mother's voice turned sharp and angry. "You did what? Are you out of your mind? We're your family. How dare you do something like this to us?" "I did it because I'm tired of you crossing every boundary I have," I said. "I've told you multiple times to stop interfering in my life, but you never listened. So now I'm making it official." My mother started shouting, "This is ridiculous. You're being dramatic again. Just because we care about you doesn't mean you can treat us like criminals. Come home right now and fix this mess." "I'm not coming home," I said firmly, "and I'm not fixing anything. The restraining order is already active. If any of you try to contact me or show up at my place, I will call the police." She was breathing heavily on the other end. "You've completely lost it," she said. "Your father is furious. Lucas is shocked. How could you do this to your own family?" I didn't feel the need to explain myself anymore. Because for years, none of you respected me as a person. You only saw me as someone you could control. I'm done. I ended the call. Within the next hour, my father called me. Then Lucas, then my mother again from a different number. I didn't pick up any of their calls. Instead, I blocked all 3 of their numbers. That evening, I received a long message from my father. "You're making a huge mistake. This restraining order is going to destroy our family's reputation. People will talk. Come to your senses before it's too late." I didn't reply. The next day, my mother showed up at my apartment building. She stood outside and kept calling my name from the street. When I didn't respond, she started shouting that I was being ungrateful and that I had lost my mind. My neighbors started coming out to see what was happening. I called the police. When the officers arrived, my mother tried to act innocent and said she was just trying to talk to her daughter. But when they checked and saw the active restraining order, they warned her that she was violating it and could be arrested if she didn't leave immediately. She left, but not before giving me a hateful look from the street. Over the next few days, my family tried different tactics. They sent messages through relatives, tried to emotionally blackmail me by saying my father's health was getting worse because of the stress, and even contacted some of my old friends to convince me to drop the restraining order. I didn't respond to any of them. 1 week later, my mother and father both came to my apartment building again. This time they brought Lucas with them. They stood outside and started shouting that I was destroying the family and that I had become a heartless person. I didn't go down. Instead, I called the police again. This time, the officers were stricter. They warned my parents that if they violated the restraining order again, they would be arrested on the spot. My mother started crying and saying that I was being cruel, but the officers didn't listen. After that incident, they stopped coming to my apartment, but they didn't stop trying to reach me through other means. They sent long, emotional messages through email, tried to contact me through social media, and even got some distant relatives to message me. I remained firm. I had spent years being controlled, criticized, and emotionally manipulated by them. The restraining order wasn't just about one incident, it was about years of boundary violations that I had silently endured. For the first time in my life, I felt like I was finally breathing freely. They had spent years making me feel like I was the problem. But now, they were the ones who had to face the consequences of their own behavior, and I had no intention of going back. After the incident outside my apartment building, my family finally seemed to understand that I was serious. For the next few weeks, they stopped showing up at my place. However, they didn't stop trying to reach me. They started using other people to contact me. My mother called some of my old school friends and asked them to convince me to come back home. My father even contacted one of my colleagues at work, pretending to be concerned about my mental health. It was embarrassing and exhausting. I kept my distance from everyone. I changed my phone number and only gave it to a few trusted people. I also made sure my social media accounts were private so they couldn't monitor me. 1 month later, my aunt, my father's sister, came to meet me. She was one of the few people in the family who had always been neutral. She sat in my small apartment and looked at me with concern. "Ava," she said gently, "your parents are really struggling. Your mother has been crying a lot. Your father's health has also deteriorated because of the stress. Can't you just talk to them once? Maybe remove the restraining order?" I looked at her and replied calmly, "Aunt, I didn't file the restraining order because of one fight. I did it because of years of emotional manipulation, control, and disrespect. They only started caring when I stopped being useful to them. I'm not going back to that life." My aunt sighed and said, "I understand your pain, but family is family. Blood is thicker than water." I smiled sadly and replied, "Sometimes blood is the thing that cuts the deepest." She didn't have anything else to say after that. She left after some time. Over the next few months, I started hearing things from mutual contacts. My parents' reputation in their social circle had taken a hit. People were talking about how their own daughter had filed a restraining order against them. Some relatives stopped visiting their house. My brother, Lucas, was also facing problems in his social life because of the family drama. My mother tried one last time to reach me through a handwritten letter. In it, she wrote that she missed me and that she was sorry for everything. She asked me to come home for Christmas. I read the letter twice, then tore it up and threw it in the dustbin. I didn't hate them, but I also didn't want them in my life anymore. Some relationships are too toxic to continue, no matter how much history you share with the person. 6 months later, I received news that my father had suffered a mild heart attack. My mother called me from the hospital, crying and begging me to come. For a moment, I felt a pang of guilt. But then I remembered all the years I had spent begging them to respect me and how they had always dismissed my feelings. I didn't go. Instead, I sent a message to my mother. I hope Dad recovers soon, but I won't be coming. Please respect my decision and don't contact me again. That was the last message I sent to any of them. Today, almost a year after I filed the restraining order, I live a much quieter and peaceful life. I have a small but good circle of friends. I'm focusing on my career and my mental health. I no longer feel the constant pressure of trying to please people who never truly valued me. I learned a very important lesson through all of this. Sometimes, the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally are the ones who hurt you the most. And when that happens, you don't have to keep sacrificing your peace just to maintain a relationship. Choosing yourself is not selfish, it's survival. Is there anyone in your life that you wish you could get revenge on? Tell me in the comments who that person is and what they did. I'd really like to know your story. And please don't forget to like and subscribe so I can continue bringing you these stories. Your support helps me keep creating and sharing new content for you.